Oh my God. Well, I can't talk about Terry Funk without talking about the origins of why I wanted to be a wrestler at 4 years old. My very first, image that I can remember as a child was seeing Terry Funk and the Von Brauners, and the Von Brauners trying to cut Terry Funk's ear off. And Terry was bleeding horribly. And we were eating spaghetti at the kitchen table, and we had one black and white television that we had convinced our mother to leave on this spectacle called wrestling. Came from Amarillo. We lived in El Paso, Texas. And Terry was there. The Von Brauners doing this number on him, and there was nobody to save him. I think Ricky Romero finally came out and saved him, but all I remember was crying, begging my parents to do something because Terry Funk needed help. The commentator was asking if you can help Terry Funk. And I said, call the police. Help Terry Funk, Mom. And she said, honey, this isn't live. This isn't real. He's fine. And I just didn't believe her.
Right.
I wouldn't believe her. And
well, why would you? I mean, Terry Funk would tell you later that she was indeed a whore.
Well, yeah. But Terry was, embroiled in this thing. And then the very next, vivid, and I it's funny the memories that I have that stick with you. And there was a tag team known as the Infernos. They were managed by J.C. Dykes. Gentleman Saul Weingroff was the manager of the Von Brauners. All the heel teams had managers. But the Infernos were managed by J.C. Dykes. And J.C. Dykes carried a canteen, and he would give it to his guys to refresh them during matches. And sometimes they would use it as weapons. But one of the Von Brauners, not the Von Brauners, goddamn, one of the Infernos had a club foot. Those don't know what a club foot is. This is when one leg is shorter than the other, and you have to wear a built-up shoe to help even you out when you walk. Well, one of these Infernos had a clubfoot boot, and during the match, he would tap his toe on the mat, and then he would kick his opponent, usually in the head. And his opponent's head would split wide open like a watermelon.
Goodness.
And the Funks were convinced that there was something in that boot, that when the Inferno tapped the toe, that he loaded that boot with something. Because as soon as he was done, he would tap it on his heel, and the referee would check, and there was nothing there. Well, one day, Terry Funk was able to get a hold of Inferno number 2. That was Clubfoot. That was his name, Inferno number 2. Terry got that boot. Now, I'll never forget the promo, because he told us next week, I'm going to tell everybody what's in that boot. And next week could not come soon enough when Terry Funk sat at the announce table with the Inferno's boot on the table. I said, I got this boot, and my brother and I took it apart. And in here, there's a trap door, so that when the Inferno tapped his foot, there were 2 pounds of lead in that boot that would come to the toe. And when he would kick you in your head, it would do this. And Terry showed the scars of what the Inferno's boot had done to his very own head. And then when he taps it back on his heel, the lead slides to the back so it can't be detected. Well, Inferno number 2, I've got your boot. And I'm going to wear it this Monday night in El Paso, Texas. And I'm going to tap that toe. And I'm going to split your melon wide open, mask and all. I had to be there, man. We actually got to go, and go to the matches every once in a while. But that was Terry Funk, man. Terry Funk was this master storyteller. Terry didn't just give interviews, man. Interviews were for fucking, jabronis. Terry told stories. Terry Funk told stories, man.
Right.
He talked you into the arena because he needed you. And when he was a heel, he would talk you into the arena because his opponent needed you if his opponent were to have half a chance. Without Terry Funk and his brother Dory, I don't know that I ever would have fallen in love with wrestling.
Wow.
They are the sole reason that I couldn't miss a Saturday broadcast. They were the sole reason that I begged to go to wrestling in El Paso every chance we got. We didn't get to go a lot in El Paso. We only got to go like when my older brother who worked at the newspaper could get free tickets from Gory Guerrero. And it was such a love affair with the Funks. I'll never forget when Dory Funk won the NWA World Heavyweight Championship from Gene Kiniski. And it made the front page of the paper.
Wow.
Well, yeah, wow.
It's big news.
Dory Funk Jr. is huge news. And, we moved to El Paso. We moved from El Paso to Houston. And I think the most heartbreaking thing to me was that I'll never see the Funks again because they only wrestled in El Paso in my head. I'm a kid. Shit you see in front of you only happens there. It doesn't happen anywhere else. And when we got there, found out that, holy cow, Dory Funk Jr. was actually going to defend the NWA World Heavyweight Championship against Wahoo McDaniel. That was like, oh my God. Didn't know who this Wahoo was, but I didn't like him because he was facing Dory Funk Jr.
That's right.
What I didn't know was that Wahoo was the hero and Dory was going to come in and be not the same Dory Funk that I grew up with. He was going to be this heel since he won the championship. And that bothered me. I still rooted for my favorite Dory Funk because he was my favorite. I just changed my stripes because I moved to another town. I wanted Dory to whoop Wahoo's ass.
Right.
In 1 year's time, Texas and Houston had the champion an unprecedented 9 times. 9 times in 1 year, the NWA World Heavyweight Champion came to Houston, Texas to defend that championship. 8 of those times, he faced Wahoo McDaniel. 1 time, he faced the big cat Ernie Ladd. And Wahoo got hot because Wahoo felt, I'm the guy that faces the champion.
Right.
8 times he failed because you can't beat Dory Funk. Dory Funk's Dory Funk. But that one time, Ball decided to put Ernie Ladd in there. Wahoo got hot. And there were other things, that we don't want to think about that, the Funks instilled in me that just kind of blew my mind. When we were in El Paso, Texas, there was another big wrestler there named Grizzly Smith. Grizzly Smith had an iron stomach. And Grizzly would challenge people from the audience to come in and punch him as hard as they wanted in his stomach. But you had to sign a waiver because you could break your hand. So one day, Harley Race comes out, says, I'd like to Not just punch him, but I say if I come off the ladder, that I can break his stomach. And Grizzly said, go ahead, get yourself a ladder. Jump off the ladder onto my stomach.
Okay.
Won't hurt me a bit. And Harley did. Harley set that ladder up. Harley climbed the top of that ladder, and Harley came off that ladder with everything that he had with a knee right across Grizzly Smith's neck. Broke Grizzly's neck. I saw it. Took Grizzly Smith off on a stretcher. The next week, they came out and said, sorry, folks. Grizzly Smith has a broken neck. Grizzly Smith has had his last match. Cried at that too, man, because it's like, oh my God, fucking Harley Race. He'll get his one day. And then when we moved to Houston, learned that Grizzly was returning.
Well, it's great.
From his broken neck.
Fantastic.
The only thing was, it seems that Grizzly had done a very similar challenge in Houston.
What do you mean?
Let people hit him with whatever they wanted, same thing, sign a waiver. But it was Johnny Valentine who challenged to come off the top rope here and come across his stomach. And it was Johnny Valentine who came across Grizzly's neck and broke it. No mention of Harley Race and a ladder in El Paso, Texas. And that's when I knew.
Wait a minute.
Very young age, 5 years old. That, damn. That Grizzly Smith's a tough son of a bitch.